What is going on today, everybody? Today we have the 2018 Chevy Camaro. This is the 2SS model. We're gonna look at everything and go for a test drive, so stick around for that. Let's get started. Hey y'all, thank you so much for tuning in for the Chevy Camaro 2SS review. Before I get started, I want to give a big thank you and shout out to Britain Chevrolet here in Greenville, Texas. They were super nice to let me show you this Camaro. They have a big selection of Camaros, so if you're in the DFW area, please be sure to check them out and they'll take care of you. So starting out front right away, we do have HID lights. Those are standard. We also have LED daytime running lights that kind of wrap around those HIDs. They look really slick and pretty sinister. What do you guys think of this front end? So from what I've seen, Chevy says this front end provides a lot of downforce and it has a pretty nice lip down below. You can see the SS badging. Up onto the hood, we do have two pretty good size functional air vents. You can get different hoods, like a black hood on different models, and the ZL1 has its own trimmings that make it look distinct and different. What do you guys think of this so far? This angular view from over here is my favorite of the Camaro. You can really see just how wide and powerful its rear end is, and it definitely shows off some of the curves and some of the lines in that aggressive front end. Starting with these wheels, we have 20-inch bright silver wheels. That's 5-spoke. There's so many different variations you can get, and they come with 245 wood tires in the front and 275 in the back. The SS gives us 4-piston Brembo brakes, but you'll get 6-piston red painted brakes on the ZL1. So with this coupe-like design, visibility is not very good, but you do have a blind spot indicator in the mirror, which is pretty much necessary on a vehicle like this. I'll show you the inside views soon. We do have the smart key system. You can see that button on the handle. I'll show you how to use that as well in just a bit. This generation Camaro is also quite a bit lighter than the previous generation thanks to aluminum components in the suspension and the wheels, and it actually has more structural rigidity over the last generation. The rear end makes a statement. We do have this spoiler running across on this model. What do y'all think of this rear end? I've heard some people say they don't like the rear end of the Camaro. Personally, I think it looks fine. You do see the rear parking sonars in the back, as well as our quad exhaust system from the dual exhaust. Dual exhaust is standard on the SS model. You can see the SS badge down there as well. On top of that, this model is equipped with the optional magnetic ride control, which monitors the suspension constantly and gives you inputs necessary for premium performance. So to get into the trunk, you can pop it in the cabin or you can click the key a couple times. Looking in the back, we get 9.1 cubic feet, which is relatively small, but is still fairly functional. I could fit my tripod in here. You can also pull a tab in the back seat to fold that seat down and have a pass-through. It'll get the job done for most people. As I told you earlier, we have the smart key system. It's a pretty nice, substantial key fob. It feels really good, has a nice soft lining right here. You can pop the trunk, remote start, push button start. And like I showed you right now, actually it's unlocked. We'll push the button. Now it should be locked. Push it again, and it's unlocked. And that works on both sides. Because we have the 2SS model for this Camaro, we have nice 8-way power leather trim seats. They're also 2-way memory seats. We can get the optional Recaro performance seats, although these still have some pretty good bolstering on the side. There's no doubt that these will be able to hold you in place. The steering wheel actually has a really big range of motion. Levers right there. It can go up and down quite a bit to give you good visibility of your gauges. Plus, it's got a pretty good telescoping range of motion as well. At 5'9", I really don't have a ton of headroom. I can put a couple fingers up above my head and I have the seats fairly low, but you do sit pretty low in here. You'd definitely want to get in here yourself and see if you fit. This does go back quite a ways, so there's quite a bit of leg room, not to mention padded spots over here on the center console. On top of that, these front seats in this 2SS model are heated and cooled. I don't fit into the back seat of this thing. I just don't have enough headroom. It's pretty scrunched back there, obviously with that sloping roof line, but Children could probably fit back there, and they're kind of some cool bucket-shaped seats, and the seat folds as well. Once you get inside the Camaro, you'll find a nice soft material right up here. If you ever decide to put your arm up there, it is pretty high, but you can do it. You also have a soft armrest right here with some stitching going across. There's a small cubby right there. Maybe be able to put something small, but there's no bottle holders. We have a trunk opening button, as well as our memory seat settings right there, and automatic up-down windows with mirror controls. Now, it's not going to be the most solid door slam because the window actually goes down just a tiny bit when you open it, since we have no actual door frame up above. As long as you have the key with you, got push button start. Sounds fantastic, and it's in sport mode right now when I started it up, so it's not the loudest, but it's not the quietest. Speaking of the exhaust, you can actually go to the screen over here, go to the settings, go to the driving mode. You can mess around with the sound, and you can put it in stealth mode so it's quiet. You know, you could have it like that so that if you start it up with your neighbors, or you start it up late at night, early in the morning, it's not quite so loud. But of course, you could put it on so that it's automatic with whatever drive mode you're in, or customize it to any of the others. Also, same with the steering. You can have the steering tuned differently as well, plus the suspension. The steering wheel is really nice. It's leather wrapped. It's nice and thick. It's got some good bolstering and some little perforations over on the edge. We have steering wheel controls on both sides. The steering wheel is heated, which is always nice. We can control this center display up here with the steering wheel controls. Right now on this display, we're just in the informational screen. We can always move over, and for example, we can look at our performance. There's quite a few different things that you can scroll through, which is pretty neat, such as your oil temperature, oil pressure. You saw your G's earlier, transmission fluid temperature, even your tire temperature, and more. We can go and look at our audio so that you can see what's on the radio on here, as well as your phone, navigation as well on this 2SS model, and then more settings to customize everything that you want. Just to the left of the steering wheel, we have a nice large air vent, lighting controls, as well as our heads-up display. So the heads-up display is right up above, and you can also move where that is depending on how high you sit, wherever you can see it the best. You can change what information is displayed on there, which is pretty cool, and I really like having a heads-up display. It's really handy, especially in a vehicle like this. Our push button start button is right over here. I do really like this center stack. One complaint that I have is that it's a little bit slanted forward instead of straight up and down, or at a better view for the driver, but there's really no issue seeing it at all. It's the nice 8-inch Chevy MyLink system, and we actually have a 9-speaker Bose audio system. There's a lot that you can do on here, as well as connect for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. We have navigation on this model, not to mention you can see weather, traffic, and you can customize, like I showed you, the exhaust mode in the driving mode. It's a nice responsive touchscreen. And we do have our volume control right here, which does have a tactile click to it, as well as buttons on top of that. Moving down a little further, you'll see we do have our ventilation and heating controls, which are all 3-tier, going across all the way over to the passenger side. Controlling the air is kind of unique. To change the temperature, you can see this side and that side. I can turn that, and that's actually how you increase temperature. And then you can spin the dial to close off those vents. So those vents are pretty large. I wish that they were higher up, because if you're driving a manual and you got the AC pumping, I could just imagine your hands gonna get cold, but maybe not. The controls are also easy, as you can see going across right here. You can synchronize the left and the right and control your fan speed and vents over there. So as you know, this is the automatic transmission. This is the 8-speed auto. You can get a 10-speed auto in the ZL1. We can shift it over right here for the manual shifting. And on the steering wheel, we do have our paddle shifters right here. So we do have our drive mode button right here. Let me show you how that works. You can push this to alternate between drive modes, which will show up on the screen. It's in track right now, which gives it the most menacing presence. Obviously, it's going to be geared and louder for better performance. We can go to snow and ice, and this is rear-wheel drive, so that might come in handy. We have tour mode, which is the comfort setting, as well as sport, which is kind of an in-between between tour and track. On top of that, we have traction control buttons right there to turn that off. We do have a 12-volt power outlet right here, as well as an electronic parking brake. So as you can see, my large water bottle does fit in this cup holder, but this one is a little smaller and a little shorter. It doesn't quite fit, but it works. This armrest is pretty soft. You can see the stitching on both sides right there, and there's a little bit of padding. I do wish for the passengers, maybe they had a little different setup so their elbow wasn't on the cup holder, but there's a little bit back here. As we open that up, we do have a fairly small cubby with 2 USB charging ports right there. As we go to the back, we have a wireless charging pad right there. We do have an automatic dimming rearview mirror. On top of that, we do have our garage remote function remote settings up there for our home. You do have 2 nice bright LED lights up above, as well as the optional sunroof. On the passenger side, we do have a locking and soft opening glove box right there. You can fit quite a bit in there, especially considering how much storage space this car is lacking being a sports car. So this front seat gives you a low seating position. It's got a pretty small window, as you can see right there, to give the car the shape that it needs. You can see just fine going forward. You definitely feel like you're in a cockpit. You feel surrounded. I do like the material that they use on the dash right here. I love how this is integrated into the dash, except it could be a little bit better for visibility. The steering wheel is definitely comfortable in a good spot, and that heads-up display just tops everything off. Visibility in this car going to the sides obviously is not going to be that great, but you do have blind spot information as well as the rear backup camera on your big screen right here. And it does have dynamic lines. The 2018 Camaro actually gives you 4 different engine options, starting with a 2-liter turbo at the bottom, a 3.6-liter V6 in the middle. Here we have the 6.2-liter V8 LT1, and then you can get the supercharged 6.2-liter V8 on the ZL1 model. On this 2SS with the 6.2-liter V8, we get 455 horsepower and 455 pound-feet of torque. And with the automatic transmission that we have here, with 8-speed automatic, that will put us to 0 to 60 in 4 seconds. If you actually have the manual, you'll lose 0.3 of a second 0 to 60, and that's why we have the automatic today. The ZL1, you can go manual, of course, or you can get a 10-speed automatic, and you can go 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. The SS model is track ready, but the ZL1 has a more advanced powertrain cooling, and miles per gallon. In this model, with the automatic, we have 16 in the city and 25 on the highway. We are off in the 2018 Chevy Camaro 2SS. So starting out, I have it in tour mode and in regular automatic. It still does have a pretty nice little growl to it. I'll shift it into sport mode now. Already just a little bit more grumble right there. So I'm gonna leave it in sport mode for a little bit. We'll go through all the modes here in a sec. Here we go. Oh man. Oh man. So that was not a whole lot of throttle. It is kind of wet and slippery out. I am so sorry. It's kind of spotty rain today. So definitely not ideal for driving, but I hope you can get a feel for it. So I'm gonna put it in the paddle shifting mode. Just move the lever over, and right away it was in 8th gear. Now it's in 7th gear. I'm gonna downshift, 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd. Oh yeah, you hear it growl right there. Oh man, this thing is so torquey. So torquey. We'll go down to first. So that was up to fifth, and I wasn't shifting very fast, but it's really quick and responsive. You hit that paddle and it shifts right away. In sport mode, this thing's really not all that stiff for driving. Obviously, it's not going to be as soft as a normal car, but it's not a bad ride. I'm going to put it back in regular automatic and tour mode. Tour is going to soften everything up a little bit, throttle response, the suspension. Obviously, track is going to give it the best performance. So, regular automatic in tour mode. I'm going to get on it a little bit. This thing definitely flies. And I know the camera definitely doesn't do it justice. And I'm on kind of a rough patch road right now, so I apologize if it's loud in here. But this thing is fun. Slow down, I'm gonna put it in track mode. Right away when you put it in track mode, as you can hear with the exhaust, it just instantly gives you a grumble. The road is wet, so I really can't do a whole lot, but you'll be able to hear it. Oh gosh. This thing is so quick. Put it back in manual, use the paddle shifters. So right now it's in sixth. Downshift, we're in fourth. Fourth gear, we're holding just over 2,000 RPMs. Give it some acceleration. Right away. Fifth gear. Sixth gear. So I don't even have the time or the space to really let this thing fly and really max it out. And this is from Britain Chevrolet. I gotta be nice to it. They were super generous to let me show you guys this car. I do like these paddle shifters, and supposedly this 8-speed, even just this 8-speed, is rated at faster than the manual. Third gear, oh, such a nice growl. And I'm gonna put it in sport mode. So the handling on this thing is really spot on. It's got a really nice weight to it. This steering, you feel 100% in control. It's a good weight. The steering wheel itself feels really nice. I love the flat bottom that we have. So I apologize if I'm a little bit giddy. I haven't been in a vehicle quite like this in a long time, and I certainly haven't driven anything like this. Like I said, 0 to 60 is rated at 4 seconds with this automatic, and 4.3 with the manual. Right now we're going 39. Not even full acceleration, up to 60 in no time. No time. The road is just too slippery for me to do much, but I hope you guys enjoy that sound. As a daily driver with this car, I really don't think it would be bad at all. I mean, certainly it would be fun, of course, and you don't have very good visibility, but the blind spot definitely helps. It is really comfortable. I really like these seats. You could go with the Recaro performance seats if you really want to upgrade. Considering how big this V8 is, at 6.2 liters, it gets mid 20 miles per gallon on the highway, and that's impressive. I mean, that's not bad at all for an engine like this. So if any of you have ever driven a Camaro or a Mustang, I would love to know what you guys think of it. How does it compare to some of the older Camaros? I've never driven one of the older generation Camaros, so love to hear about that. This 8-speed, when I have it just in regular auto mode, is definitely still quick. If you've ever seen any videos of the 10-speed in the ZL1, that thing is like lightning. It's no wonder these automatics can be faster than the manuals. We'll go back into manual. I'm going to leave it in sport mode. Right away it was in 7th gear. I'm going to shift down, and it can shift me down into 2nd gear. third, fourth. Oh my gosh. So now I'm in tour mode and I'm in town. So like I was kind of talking about, as a daily driver, I'm comfortable. I'm really comfortable in here. It's not as smooth as a traditional sedan or other regular coupes, but it's not supposed to be. This thing is built for performance. In tour mode, it definitely feels just fine. This does have magnetic ride control, and I'm not sure what the regular suspension is like, but this is nice. Going around those turns, I didn't even feel like I was really going around a turn. I was held in my seat really well. I don't have the sharpest turns to go around here, so I'm sorry about that, but I hope you guys could hear that engine, could hear how this thing sounds and how fun this car can really be. You know, I'm definitely surprised by this Camaro. I'm impressed. This is quite the cockpit. You definitely are kind of lasered in on the road. Everything feels like you're kind of just snug in here. It definitely feels like it's built for the driver. It's kind of hard to tell how quiet or how loud this is because of the rough texture roads that we're on out here. And it's been kind of raining off and on, so that doesn't help. I told you this has the Brembo brakes. The Brembo brakes are optional. They're not standard on the 1SS. They are standard on the ZL1, but you get bigger Brembo brakes actually, and they're red. They feel really good. These brakes are perfectly on point. There's no guessing on how much pressure you need to give to stop. It feels good. In tour mode, the exhaust is toned down quite a bit. It's definitely not very loud, which is fine. You're not always going to want it to be loud. We're in sport mode and going around this turn. Oh, it feels really good going around a turn. You're just hugged in. There's no effort to it. There's no keeping yourself in place. It's really nice. Still in sport mode, gonna give it some throttle. It's got a really nice sound to it. Not overbearing, not too loud. Sounds great. I would probably keep it in sport mode quite a bit of the time because I love that sound. I don't know if I could get sick of it. Oh yeah. One more time in track mode. Yeah, this puts a smile on my face. And then it holds its RPMs. Oh man, it holds its RPMs so much higher than it does in the sport and the tour mode. I could have fun in this thing all day, and I'm sure you could too. So that's gonna wrap everything up. Please let me know what you guys think down below. This was the first performance car I was able to have on the channel. Don't be too harsh on your reviews, but please comment down below. I appreciate you guys for watching so much, and I'll see you next week. Hey y'all, thank you so much for watching my video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do down below for new weekly videos every single week. Also hit me up on social media. Find the links down below in the description for Prime Autotainment. Once again, leave some comments down below, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you next week.